Hi guys, how's it all going with you? In today's video, it's going to prove to be unpopular with some, or maybe even with many, but I think it needs to be said, and then the message has to be hammered home. Either Labour get behind their leader, or Starmer employs some new ranch hands to gather up the herd, forget about the stragglers, and drive west towards a new election and the plaudits that await them. Otherwise, Labour will continue to disappear like a fart in the wind, and that just cannot be allowed to happen. And for Keir Starmer, I have a message for you too. Get your head out of your ass and get on this. So let's go. Now, take for instance, the number of COVID cases among care home staff have tripled to a high not seen since February. There were 14,500 positive cases as against just 4,500 in June. 14,500 in July, 4,500 in June. But it's worse for patients. Their figure has increased fourfold. But let's not forget basically all restrictions were lifted in care homes by Mr. Sajid Javid. Now, he's our new Minister for Health, numpty, that said on the first day on the job, and I'm quoting here, no matter what restrictions will be lifted. Of course, this was against all scientific opinion, who strongly advised caution, but like all other experts with this bloody government, expert opinion, who cares? Doesn't matter. Advice was ignored. Now, in a blistering attack by the Lib Dems, leader Sir Ed Davey, he said Conservative ministers have taken their eyes off the ball again, leaving our care homes exposed to skyrocketing cases. They should be ashamed. And he's right, 100% right. He went on to say their claims of a protective ring around the care homes was a disgraceful lie, and now we're seeing again why this shambolic government can't be trusted to protect our vulnerable loved ones. Again, right on the money. Right on the money. The Conservatives' abject failure to protect care homes residents and staff throughout this whole pandemic has been one of the biggest tragedies, and it must not continue. Bang on right. Now, the death rate is unfortunately and tragically running at an extra 100 people per month, dying unnecessarily. And before the Brexiteer, free choice, pro-freedom dipsticks have a pop at me, I'm quoting the figures released by the very same government that caused the damn deaths in the first place. Okay? And let's not think this is about the 100 lives lost, as now we're becoming increasingly obvious to everybody with a brain that is being blindingly ignored that many of those patients who contracted the virus are having longer term effects, and that science is only beginning to get through to that science is only beginning to get through to the people on the street, but it's being ignored by the Conservatives and by the mainstream media. And unfortunately, yet again, those who speak the truth have been ridiculed. They have been pilloried by mostly by the Brexit-loving nationalist dickheads who seem to think that their right to be numpties outweighs those of us who want to live. And leading that rhetoric is Farage, who constantly wangs on, without giving his opinion, of course, with things like, how can those flimsy masks prevent anything? I really don't understand. Or, does the compulsory mask wearing introduced by this government in the height of the balmy hot weather infringe on your freedom of speech? After all, then he'll generally have a smart aleck chuckle and move on. You know, that bloke really is a scourge to society. He's just a more swanky Powell or a Mosley, and that's probably doing those two guys a bit of an injustice. But moving on. What is interesting is the reply from the Department of Health, not from Labour. And the Department of Health said, throughout the pandemic, we have done all we can to protect the vulnerable people in adult social care. We have provided billions of pounds to support the sector, including on infection, on prevention, control measures, on free PPE, and additional testing and priority vaccinations. Now, this is coming from the Department of Health. Now, I don't know about you, but that statement really smacks of, what are you complaining about? What more can we do? We've done this and we've done that and blah, blah, blah. Well, here's a heads up from me. You haven't done enough, bunch of numpties. You just haven't done enough. And these policies of the government are continuing to kill people. But where is Labour? How about, what is the government doing to stop people dying? Or how many lives have to be lost before the government do something? How about that for an opening line in your next press releases? How about calling out Javid for a stupid opening statement as a minister? Now, wouldn't that be a start? But no, we're not getting that. The figures seen in care homes will also be replicated by families of the poorer of society. So instead of asking stupid questions about when will England match the COVID restrictions of Wales, ask this question. How many people will have to die before the government takes some responsibility? How about that for a bloody start over 10? You are the leader of currently the second largest party in the House of Commons. Either crap or get off the throne or close the door and start whistling Dixie, because the Conservatives are going to throw Boris under a bus. Of that there is no doubt. And the mainstream media, their scope is dialed in on his backside, along with Priti Patel's. But that does not solve the problem. Boris is a populist and in some ways predictable. But of the likes of Gove, if the likes of Gove were to rise, then you're dealing with a whole different animal. That boy, he'll slice and dice anybody from outside the party or inside his party faster than Gordon Ramsay can fillet a fish. And if he's to take the reins, Starmer's job's going to get a lot tougher. And I don't think Starmer is ready for it. I don't think the Labour Party is ready for it. Now, maybe that's because they don't have the funds to launch a campaign. I really don't know. But let me say this. We are all familiar with Max. We're all familiar with Jeff. We're all familiar with Daily Blase. We're all familiar with Michael. We're all familiar with Bowler Hat Man. To assume that none of their subscribers voted Conservative would be naive, especially given how much of a disaster Corbyn was. But to assume that those same people will vote Labour in the next election is stupid. It's moronically stupid. The votes of those subscribers are there for the asking. They're there for the asking. 200 or more than 50% of the votes that the Labour Party need to get past the Conservatives. More than 50%. And have the Labour Party, what have the Labour Party done to engage those influencers? Nothing. They've done sod all. Starmer, you've had enough time. Get on this crap. The current Labour Party have more ammunition to throw at the Conservatives than any other party in history. Any other party in history. But if you were to watch the PMQs or even the Labour-friendly media, you cannot see the impact statements. They're crazy. They're childish. Starmer needs, you're not in court of law where logic and evidence prevails. You're on the street, and Labour need to fight on the street. He needs to play by street rules, and if he cannot do that, he needs a kick in the backside. Now, no matter how screwed up Brexit becomes, no matter how many people lose their jobs or their businesses, if Labour do not engage with social influencers, such as those YouTubers already mentioned, along with other social media channels, there is no way in hell Keir Starmer can be successful. And if you think I'm wrong, please feel free to contradict me in the comments. No problem. But I'm going to leave you with the screenshot of the YouTube channel, when you type in Labour UK. Jeremy Corbyn is gone, and yet Starmer just occupies one thumbnail out of 4. And how many subscribers do Labour have? They have 38,000. How many does Keir Starmer have? There's the real question. Well, I'll answer that for you. None. He doesn't have one. On his own web page, he doesn't even list his Facebook account, his Instagram account, or his YouTube account. Now, Sure, he's got 1.1 million Twitter's followers. Wonderful. Oh, wow. Clap yourself on the back there. Boris Johnson has 3.5 million. Need I say more? Get onto your local MPs, guys. They need to step up the game. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side.